Welcome to our next segment. We're going to talk about a couple of the top players from all the top teams that are out there.
All right, I'd like to start with the Prime Pitbulls. Tight end Jason Witten. He's been a very good player, a very good fantasy player this season so far. Now Tony Romo's out. What's going to happen to Witten's numbers? We'll soon find out.
Well, what I think is that Jason Witten's going to score a lot of catches.
All right, another player for the Pitbulls, Ocho Stinko. What happened, though? No sayo. Let's move on.
All right, well, we're going to go with the New York Suns. They've got a couple of good players, and I like them. What I call the president, which is Clinton Portis, he has stepped up this year like you couldn't imagine. Also, they've got Tony Romo, who has balled it up so far this year, except for maybe the last game. He's got an injury. He might play, though, this weekend and step up for the New York Suns.
He has practice. Let's move on to the Jacksonville Garbaggio so-called Stunners. Lost the game of the week.
That's right.
Now they're the losers of the week. I mean, let's put it down. Bernard Berrian. Knee injury? Is he going to play this weekend? He has practice.
Jacksonville Funners. They go out there for fun.
Right. So, Jay Cutler put up 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. That's -4 points.
He's got diabetes, a couple of insulin shots, and he'll be okay.
All right. And then Jones-Drew, the only contender, I think the only baller on the Jacksonville Stunners.
He's 5'5", but he gets the job done.
That's right. Let's move on.
We're going to move on to the Kendall Killer Cats. They've got the 2 top quarterbacks in the league, Drew Brees and Kurt Warner.
Who do you pick now?
Kurt Warner's an old man. Drew Brees has stepped up like no other, but he's stepping up for his football team, the Kendall Killer Cats.
I couldn't agree more. Lady Scorpios. Is the team falling apart or not?
It sure is.
Because Tony Gonzalez.
He has to be traded from Kansas City, and he has done nothing but stunk it up for the last couple of years.
And her defense, the Chargers, they hold the Colts to 10 points last week. I mean, she's got some good points and some bad points.
You're absolutely right. We're going to move on to the Pure Romance Shockwave, who's got, I think, the top 2 players, Michael Turner and LaDainian Tomlinson, probably the 2 best running backs that are out there. Except LaDainian Tomlinson has fallen off this year. Yeah. He hasn't produced like he usually has.
They're saying he's not the fantasy player that he was last year.
So look out for Michael Turner. We're going to move on to the next team, which are the Bone Crushers. They've got Aaron Rodgers and Frank Gore, which are probably the 2 top players on that football team. Aaron Rodgers has stunned everyone, taking over Brett Favre. And Frank Gore, a University of Miami alumni, which I'm wearing the jersey, which has stepped up, and he steps up every year.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the players on this guy's team. You look at the names on his team, and you say, he's not really a contender. Look at the score, the points that this guy is. Yeah, I think he's the points leader in this bowl right now.
Probably.
Probably. I think he is.
All right. Well, we're going to move on to the Dogg Catchers, who have a number of good players, but have not seemed to have stepped up in their division. They've got Reggie Bush, Matt Ryan, Larry Fitzgerald, and Tim Hightower, who has taken over the running game in Arizona from Edgerrin James.
Unfortunately, I mean that's a downfall for the Prime Pitbulls, who thought EJ 300 yards, in a college season game.
Ever since
NFL, that's not going to happen. Ever since he joined the NFL, he's been on a slight decline.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
Larry Fitzgerald stepping up, slight incline. What else do you have to say?
You took the words right out of my mouth, Dick Man.
And we're going to move on to the Got Moss Punk, Got Hack Punk, Pac-Man Suspended Jones.
Call him what you want.
This is it. I mean, look at his lineup. Read the names down there. That's the team of 1998, 2002 maybe. That's the lineup you wanted to have in your fantasy team.
If you look at the players on his football team, you don't recognize no one.
That's not the fantasy of 2008. That's the fantasy of 2001.
You can't
1990-01.
You can't win a championship with
the Ford T-model bucket. Riding down the screen.
And Dick Man has a point. You can't win a championship with that football team.
You can't. Jake Del home. Jake, go home. Your job is done. Fantasy points are done. It's over.
Well, we're going to move on to my last and final team, which are the Broon Dogs. Broon Dogs, whatever the most popular name is this week. He's got a key player that has moved on to the Dallas Cowboys, Roy Edgar Williams, who has the new receiver. He's taken over the position.
Coming from Detroit, now going to the Dallas Cowboys.
That's right.
This guy's going to see
a hell of
an increase in fantasy points.
That's right. Not only that, they've also got Braylon Edwards, who last week completely destroyed the Dallas Cowboys and scored an abundance amount of points to take them to a pretty good football game for last week. They've also got Peyton Manning, which is their starting quarterback. And they've got Brandon Jacobs, who is the #1 running back in the New York Giants, who have scored a tremendous amount of points for the Broomdogs.
That's right. Those two guys, Braylon Edwards and...
That's right.
Monday night, they came through. They put up points for the Broomdogs to come up and tie and move up to #2 in their division.
That's right.
Because of that tie.
And with that said, we're going to move on to our next segment, which has to do with the games of the week that are coming up for this week. We've got starting off the fearsome force. I'm sorry, the